Edgar TV.
How do, and welcome back to Edgar TV for a thrilling episode of my Pro Tour adventure, this one being part 3 from this past weekend in Barnsley. It was a 3-day event, a Friday, Saturday and Sunday, consisting of 2 Pro Tour events and also 2 European Tour qualifiers. As I've said before, I don't practice the day before. My last practice before this was Wednesday when I met up with Kevin Painter. I had a really good session Wednesday, felt really good coming into the weekend. So, got that practice in, travelled up on the Thursday night. Now, what's going on in the world at the moment? There's been a lot of postponements going on. Events number 3, 4 and number 2 on the European Tour have all been postponed so far. But that didn't stop us playing the qualifiers on Friday afternoon. Qualifiers are for European Tours 3 and 4 for whenever they're going to happen and where they're going to happen, because it's likely they could change. First game of the weekend came. I played young Dutch lad Niels Zonneveld. Really good game this one all the way through. Nip and tuck, took it 6-5 in the end. Niels averaging 95.5 to my 92.5. Decent game. Then in the game to go through to European Tour 3, I played like an absolute tool. Lost 6-0, was absolute garbage. But you can see here, Jose de Souza played very well. First 4 legs there, can't do much against that. But I didn't, so yeah. But as the Edgar Nation know, this is a no drama zone, and no drama was here because I knew we had event 4 coming up, so there's no time to dwell on it. And would you believe it, a draw Lord Farquaad himself, Ryan Searle. And despite a bit of a slow start getting into this game, we both did get into it in the end. 6-4 victory for me. I think me and Ryan played the game at quite a nice little pace actually, so we can rattle ourselves into it and play each other into form, and it's kind of what happened towards the back end of this game. Unlike the qualifying round where I again managed to lose 6-3, this time to Ryan Murray. So that was it, and it was back to the hotel. But not before grabbing my tea for the night. And I felt a bit continental, so I thought I'd grab myself a nice chicken korma and some onion bhajis. And onion bhajis and me don't always agree, which you'll find out later on in this story. Other than that, I spent the night in the room playing this Football Manager handheld 2019 game where I guided Newcastle United to the Premier League title. You can tell it's fantasy, can't you? Saturday morning, and it's back to preparing for the Players' Championships events, Players' Championship 7 and number 8. And I personally prefer to practice on the practice boards, which had like a row of boards a bit like this. Not exactly like this, because this was Q School, which was a lot busier, but there's a row of boards, about 7 or 8 boards or so. I don't like practicing on the match boards, the cubicles, but it was getting a little bit busy at this point. So here we go, it's time for Edgar's top tip. So the boards are getting busy, it's about 3 deep at the time, and then... And to be fair, I thought this was a sly one, but apparently not. Cleared the board instantly. Had the board to myself, so it actually worked out quite well for me there. Justin Pipe was about 2 boards down at the time, and he got it in full flavour. In that situation, all you got to do is just take deeper breaths. Helps it go quicker. Special shout out here as well to Vincent van der Meer. This guy can take it. He just stood there, congratulated me a little bit, and then cracked on. He can take it. Well done, Vincent van der Meer. But back to the practice, and I spent a bit of time practicing with Richard North. Now, what most people do is do this 1-2-1 finishing game where you got to finish 1-2-1 in 9 darts, and you take it in turns, you're working together, where if you finish it in 3 darts, then it puts a blocker in. So if you take out 1-2-7, then you only go down as far as 1-2-7. To start this game off, we ended up, I think, in 6 out of the first 10 big finishers, and we went on a massive run, played really, really well. And all I've heard from him all weekend is you've got to include this in Edgar TV. You'll probably see him appear in the comment section below, so say hi. But yeah, there you go, Richard, you're on Edgar TV. And yes, I said Richard. The darts themselves weren't too bad, but unfortunately found myself on the wrong side of a 6-5 scoreline here to Danny Noppert. Managed to get the game to 5-5, and then he goes 180, 180, treble 20. 7 perfect darts at a 5-5 deciding moment. Great darts. He ended up getting a semi. So the darts were short-lived, so it was back to Fantasy World and guiding Newcastle to the Champions League with some of this blackcurrant. I don't know if you've ever seen it before. 35p a carton. It's absolutely lovely. So I went and panic bought it and bought every blackcurrant they had in the shop. Phenomenal stuff. Love it. Sunday morning now, and Richard comes over again because he wants to try and recreate what we did the day before. If anything, I think Sunday actually went better than the Saturday. We played even better, which I didn't think was possible. And again, he told me I've got to get it on Edgar TV. So here he is, guys. For the actual darts itself, I was going to put that poo emoji up, but I thought, no, there's another idea here. I want to cover over this leg. This is quite interesting here. You'll see, if you was watching it as well, you probably wonder what on earth went on. I wanted 129 and I managed to bust it. Now, a couple of solutions here. I might have hit the wrong double. No, I actually bust it by hitting what I was throwing for. Completely got my maths wrong, weren't thinking, and actually hit the target I was going for and actually bust 129. What an idiot. You can imagine the little moment of awkwardness as the chalker writes up bust, and I'm standing there looking at it and I'm like, no. And I'm looking at the board and I'm like, no, look. And then I'm like, yes. Yeah, I've hit more than 129. So, as if. I think the good news for me though now is to get a little rest, get the head rested, get the body rested, and then we'll get back to it again hopefully in the next couple of weeks. What happens with the tour at the moment we don't fully know, but that's possibly out of the hands really of everyone involved, and it all comes down really to see what happens tomorrow with this legislation. And they're saying it might be 500 people for indoor, so we could be alright for the Pro Tour, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Edgar TV. I'll share with you the highs, I'll share with you the lows, I'll share with some people the gas, but if you want to be sharing this with me, there's only one place you can do that, and that is right here on Edgar TV. And the easiest way to do that is hitting the subscribe button, or you can follow me on Twitter at the Edgar501.